Grab your popcorn as we recap this Elizabeth Olsen movie. The movie begins with a girl running barefoot in a snowy field during the night. She collapses, cries, and continues to run as if her life is in danger. In the next scene, a hunter named Cory shoots a wolf. It seems he's taking a break from shooting aliens and criminals. Cory visits his ex-wife Wilma and tells her that he plans to take their son to the Indian reserve. Wilma agrees but reminds Cory not to lose sight of Casey and take good care of him. The tension between Cory and Wilma is evident. Before Cory leaves, Wilma reveals that she's taking an interview for a job in Jackson. She adds that they'll need to discuss Casey's alimony if she gets the job. Wilma reveals that the cost of living in schools in Jackson is higher. Cory tells her that they'll figure something out and that everything will be fine. Got to give the baby mama some love? Casey's grandfather welcomes them when they arrive at the reserve. He then shows some animal tracks to Cory and asks him to deal with them. Cory wastes no time and gets on his snowmobile to hunt down the animals. Instead of lions, Cory finds human footprints and blood in the snow. He follows the trail and eventually finds a frozen body. As it turns out, it's the girl running in the snowy field at the movie's start. Cory asks for help from the local sheriff's office. Later that day, a snowstorm appears. Cory asks Sheriff Ben's permission to follow the tracks before they disappear because of the snowstorm. Ben denies his request and says that he needs to ask the FBI about it. While Ben wants to wait and be sure, Cory is confident that the victim is Natalie. While the men are talking, an FBI agent arrives near the sheriff's office. Since the snow is pouring, Cory guides the agent towards the office. Agent Jane Banner introduces herself and asks if the men can take her to the crime scene. Cory tells Jane that she will die before making it to the crime scene if she doesn't suit up. Jane changes to the snow clothes provided by Cory's in-laws. Casey's grandmother also tells her to return them later because it belongs to her granddaughter. Moments later, Cory sees Jane wearing his daughter's clothes, and he freezes for a brief moment. Cory, Jane, and Ben then head out to the crime scene. Jane immediately examines the dead body after arriving at the crime scene and concludes it's a homicide case. Cory then describes what he thinks happened based on the tracks. Jane then asks Cory to assist her throughout the investigation, and he agrees. Later that night, Cory works on his trick arrows, bullets. Casey comes in and asks him about Natalie. Cory says she got killed by the cold, just like his sister Emily. The next day, Jane visits the coroner about Natalie's cause of death. She learns that Natalie was beaten and possibly raped multiple times. Jane and the coroner argue about declaring the cause of death as a homicide. It turns out that without a homicide case, Jane can't call in an FBI team and will have to rely on herself and the local Indian police. Later that day, Jane and Ben visit Natalie's parents for some questions. Jane begins by asking her father Martin and unintentionally upsets him. He finds Jane's approach upsetting because it lacks sympathy and respect. Moments later, Cory knocks on the door, and Martin bursts into tears when he sees him. The two then talk about how to live after losing a daughter. Cory comforts Martin and gives him hope. He tells him to face the pain and preserve the memories of his daughter. Martin answers that he is tired of life and that his son is also lost. He tells Cory that his son is addicted to drugs. He also believes that his son may know something about the death of their daughter Natalie. Cory then promises to shoot Nat's killer if they find him. He's gone now, turned to dust with a snap of a finger. Later that day, Cory, Jane, and Ben look for Chip, Natalie's drug addict brother. Cory looks around the property while Jane and Ben knock on the trailer's door. A man high on rugs opens the door and uses pepper spray on Jane and Ben. Two other men try escaping from the back door, but Cory knocks them out with a shovel. Half blind because of the pepper spray, Jane enters the house and a gunfight. Jane lands multiple shots on the assailant and kills him. Shortly after that, Chip learns about his sister's death. Jane then takes Cory's advice and follows him to track a snowmobile trail up to the nearby mountain. The trail leads near the place where they found Natalie's body. There, Jane and Cory find another body frozen by the snow. Later, Cory talks to Chip despite Jane telling him not to. Cory shows some force after being insulted by Chip. He then learns that Natalie's boyfriend Matt works as a security guard at a local drill rig. Cory meets Wilma later that night and talks about Natalie's case. He tells her that it has nothing to do with their daughter Emily. Wilma shuts the door on Cory and he leaves to meet up with Jane. Jane reveals that the new body they found earlier belonged to Matt. Cory then invites her into his house. Inside, the two talk about Cory's daughter Emily, who died many years ago. It turns out that Emily threw a party while her parents were away. During that party, many people she had never met before showed up. After that party, Cory and Wilma learned that their daughter was missing. Sometime after that, a shepherd found Emily's body torn to pieces by wolves about 30 kilometers from their home. No wonder he shows no mercy to the wolf at the start of the movie. Cory, Jane, Ben, and the local police head to the drill rig facility the next day. Jane and the police officers go to the rig while Cory goes to the high ground with his sniper rifle. Ever the marksman, Jane and the police meet up with the rig's guards and pretend to look for Matt. Jane notices that the guards are covered with bruises and asks them about it. They make up an excuse and lead the authorities to Matt's trailer. The tension between the guards and the police starts developing as they move to the trailer. Meanwhile, Cory finds lion tracks and starts following them. Eventually, he discovers lion cubs and learns that their mother is dead. Cory then starts observing the drilling facility. Back with Jane, a guard slips up and reveals he knows about Natalie, even if Jane never publicly talked about it. The guards begin to encircle Jane's group, alerting the police. Guns were drawn and pointed at one another as the tension finally reached a boiling point. Jane uses her FBI authority to take control of the situation and continue to Matt's trailer. Cory tries to inform Jane and the police about the guards, but they don't respond. Jane knocks on the trailer's door where Matt's bunker buddy Pete stays. A flashback about the night of Natalie's murder then plays out. Natalie knocks on the same trailer, and Matt opens the door to greet her, spend some intimate time together, and talk about their plans of moving to another city. Matt then tells Natalie about a Christmas he spent in a beautiful rural place near LA. Their peace gets interrupted when Matt's co-workers arrive drunk. Moments later, a drunk and thirsty Pete starts harassing Natalie. The rest of the guards don't help out, so Matt gets aggressive towards Pete. Unable to control his thirst, Pete pulls down Natalie's pants during the commotion, and a brawl erupts. When that happens, the rest of the guards take Pete's side and knock Matt and Natalie unconscious. When Natalie wakes up, she finds Pete on top of her and forcing himself on her. She lies helpless as Pete lets out all his thirst. Matt regains consciousness and tries fighting against the rest of the guards to save his girlfriend. Natalie gets away amidst the fighting and leaves Matt to die at the hands of his coworkers. Back to the present day, Jane continues to knock on the trailer's doors. All of a sudden, Ben receives Cory's message about the guards. He then warns Jane to get away from the door but is too late. Jane gets shot in the chest, and a massive gunfight ensues. Ben gets shot in the neck, and Jane, still alive thanks to her android lover's protection for sure, retaliates. Jane's group is defeated, and the remaining guards start executing the survivors. Jane reloads her gun, but it is taken away by the rig guard. Before the guard gets to finish Jane off, Cory shoots him in the chest with a sniper rifle. Jane then takes cover as Cory rains fire on the remaining guards. Cory kills all the guards except Pete, who runs to the woods to escape Ronan's wrath. Jane also shoots Pete in the foot as he flees. After the gunfight, Cory tends to Jane's wounds using supplies lying around in the trailer. He tells her that they aren't lethal because her android lover absorbed most of the impact. Jane then tells him to go after Pete. Cory then tells her that he has no plans of bringing him back, and Jane nods in agreement. Moments later, a wounded and scared Pete collapses on the snowy ground after hearing a snowmobile nearby. He tries defending himself but gets knocked out by Cory. When he wakes up later, he is on top of a mountain, and Cory is on guard nearby. Pete finds himself tied up and his boots missing. He then tries to talk himself out of the desperate situation. Cory then says that if Pete tells the truth, he will give him a chance to escape. Having no other options, Pete confesses about raping Natalie and killing Matt. He blames the loneliness he experienced by being in such an isolated place. Cory tries to hide his disgust after hearing Pete's story. Being a man of his word, Cory cuts Pete free and tells him to run for survival. Pete starts running, but his weak ass only makes it to 100 meters before he collapses to the ground. He then vomits blood and dies to the cold as Natalie did. Sometime later, Cory visits Jane at the hospital where she is recovering from her wounds. They talk for a bit, and Cory tries his best to comfort Jane. Moments later, Jane gets emotional after thinking about Natalie's struggles and cries her heart out. After the hospital, Cory visits Martin at his house but doesn't find him immediately. He searches the house and finds Martin's wife sleeping in Natalie's room. After looking at Natalie's pictures, he finds Martin sitting outside. Cory goes outside and discovers that Martin has painted his face with his death mask. And here I thought Martin was just a soccer fan showing support to his team. Martin tells Cory that he just made up his death mask because no one was left to teach him how to do it properly. The two then spend time talking about their plans in life, and Martin says that one of the drill rig guards got away. Cory corrects him and says none escaped, implying that he killed Pete. Martin asks how Pete died, and Cory says just like Natalie. After that, Martin tells Cory that Chip called earlier that day. Martin reveals that his son is in the police station, and he plans on picking him up later that day. He then asks Cory to sit with him for a while. The movie ends with Martin and Cory sitting together in complete silence. A message then plays on the screen, revealing facts that there is no record in real life about missing Indian women. Based on that statement, it's believed that no one knows how many Indian women are missing.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.